Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to the Big Chat with myself, SK Phasha. What an absolute pleasure it is to have the gentleman live in studio. I think we all know what he's done. I think we all know what he's achieved at the highest of levels, being, the coach of Platinum Stars twice, SuperSport United, Amazulu, Al Ali out in Egypt as an assistant coach to one of the greats, Coach Pitso Msimani, and recently with Kaizer Chiefs, who's speaking about the one and only coach, Johnason. And of course, when we posted about him, there was a lot of interest in regards to what has happened at this last club. I think that's for later. What is most important is the book that is writing, or is being written, rather. Welcome to the Big Chat. Actually, the first show for the year, and it couldn't be any brighter. Coach Johnason, twice Manager of the Month, and of course, leading Platinum Stars to second spot in the league a couple of years ago. And I think he's going to tell us all about that, what he's done, what he's achieved, his current plans. And when I spoke to him briefly about the book, he said, well, maybe I might get a job tomorrow. Hey? That's the life of a coach. Coach Johnason, an absolute pleasure it is to have you live in studio with us. A very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Karabo. And thank you for having me on your show. And we hope we're able to do justice to this half an hour or 1 hour that we spent together.
Yep.
And we inform the people what's happening and why I'm here and what's been happening with myself.
Yep.
And if there's anything new in the world of football, then maybe we talk about it. But it's all about football.
Well, it is all about football, and what an honest man, from his press conferences out that one would really attend, of Kaizer Chiefs, former club, SuperSport United. You mentioned it. He's always been honest, and that's what we are looking for, an honest conversation, and just understand and know the man. I think the last couple of months in his last job was quite difficult, but that's for later. I think now what we start with Coach Johnason, maybe just briefly, who is Coach Johnason?
Johnason is a South African.
Yep.
Who understands Zulu, who understands Sotho.
Yeah.
Johnason is a South African who grew up in Westbury and started out at so many schools that I went to because of the apartheid era, moving you from one end to the other end and always happening to be moving schools.
Yep.
Like the beginning of school was in town, which was called Newtown Primary School, and from there it was on to Krause Street, which is in the old Mayfair area, Fitas area, and then we went to school in Rivoli Extension. Had to travel many hours, and then to Bosmont, and then to Coronation, and then to Damlin. So moved around a lot as far as schooling is concerned, but work-wise, always were lucky. I've always had the opportunity to work for, if it's so-called, international companies. My first experience as working was working for one of only two international hotels in Johannesburg, which was the Johannesburger Hotel. And then after that, went into computer work, working for an insurance company, which is also an international company, called Sentry. And after that, because of the bite of football and because of the bite of Nelson Mandela being an activist and things like that, when he said sport will unite us, I was on that bus.
Yeah.
And after playing, I started coaching. First coaching job was at a team called Postman Chelsea.
Yeah.
And from there onwards, we went to Soweto, started coaching with Ted, went on to coach at School of Excellence, IX Cape Town.
Yeah.
And the rest you mentioned just before.
Yeah.
And that's where I've been all my life after that. So most of my adult life was spent coaching.
And Coach, I think we all know Westbury. More often than not, it's always in the news, in the papers as well, on television in regards to, the violence in Westbury. For you growing up at that time, at that point, you speak about apartheid as well. How was it at that time when you lived in that area in particular?
Beautiful. A magic community that was brought together by someone else and all put together. And the rivalry was always football.
Yeah.
But in saying that, we were able to live and we were able to survive in a good environment. I thought it was a good environment at that time, even though there was gangsterism. But a lot of our friends, a lot of my friends, all belonged to different, but because of sport, we were all together and we were able to help each other. And the biggest thing that always comes to my mind there is that we always had respect for older people. And today, when I look at Westbury, there's no respect for the older generation. We've lost that mind, and along the way now I looked at a lot of Denzel Washington's thoughts and speaks and things like that. And he was speaking about the projects, and it reminded me so much about Westbury, that at 11 and 12-year-olds are now carrying guns and killing each other. And that for me is all the legacy of apartheid. Because how we get out of that is how we get out of this community. And I always say that the people who developed apartheid were very, very clever. They put us all together in different areas and they left us there. And they said, when we give them the democracy, they will kill each other in the areas that we built for them. So, and that is what's happening now in Westbury. And from the outside, I was fortunate enough to be able to move out of it and build myself a reputation of trying to coach, trying to get children out of the area. And yes, we've done it with one or two children out of different areas, but they've gone on to be bigger superstars. I mean, the biggest one that is out of Westbury that I'd like everybody to have a look at him is Stephen
Pinar.
And that for me is always the one I go to and talk to, but there's many others. I mean, we have a guy called Sean Potgieter. He's from Maritzburg, but he's also from similar areas. We're all from the similar area.
True.
Soweto and Westbury is no different. It's just that somebody said, this is black and that is colored. How they got it right to say those things, I don't know. But Sean, he lives in Germany now, and he's well off. His son plays for one of the bigger clubs in Germany. So there's a lot of those stories that go around, and there's a lot of, and that for me is to share those stories so the next generation, the 11 and 12-year-olds that don't think they have it, they have got it. All they have to do is try harder and listen better in order for us to come out from where we are. We have to fight the democracy we have now, because we're only 35 years into democracy. And when you look at people that are Nigerians, the Zimbabweans, the Zambians, they have got democracy for generations, and they're having problems. We have got democracy for 35 years, and we're having big problems within our so-called township areas.
Yeah.
And that is what I like, to part my knowledge on how I got where I am, because I have friends that are not superstars, but they are comfortable, and they are still my friends today. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that is what I'd like to see.
And just before we close the Westbury issue, Coach, because there's a lot of dedication when you speak about it as well. Do you think, is it possible? Is it possible that Westbury can be a much more better environment? And if so, if you do believe that, what should be done and how can we change the situation? Because my former radio station was there as well, Kofifi FM. I worked there for a couple of years. There's a lot of football talent there. You should know much more better than I do. But how do we try to change that situation? Maybe not only in Westbury, but in all black communities, in your view?
By giving the proper support to the people of the area, by getting the people that have been successful in those areas to give back somewhere along the line, because my name comes out, Kevin Johnason, because I've been on television, I've coached a few teams, so my face is always in the media. But there are other people, like there are doctors, there are principals, there are teachers, there are nurses that have come out of those areas, and those are successful people. And that is what we need to get together, to show the next generation that success is not only having a 25,000 rand phone in your hand, or being on television every day, or talking on radio. That is not success.
True.
And that is what we need to show the people, and understand that education, I always said this to all players that I've coached, education and sport go hand in hand. They never ever go out of hand. And if you're able to keep the two running, which from a young age takes a lot out of you as an individual, and if you're able to do that, whether you fail or whether you succeed, doesn't matter. But you've got to keep the two running together, because one of the two will be more powerful than the other as time goes by. We're not all that lucky, Karabo. And I always say the bottle is always full at the bottom, but as it gets to the top, it slows down, and those are the people that become the most successful. But in between, there's always big successes as well. And our problem at the moment is also that we don't encourage people to do other things than just the famous freelancer, what they call divas. This is where we all want to live, in that space in life today. But
there's other opportunities.
We forget that a plumber is just as important as a doctor. An electrician is just as important as a doctor. A builder is just as important. A mechanic is just as important. So we need to get that into the generation of well-being.
And so sorry to interject you, because you once again speak about a very important the point of factor. Why is that? Why is that called Kevin Johnason? Why is it that we seem to value television, radio, fame much more important than anything else, forgetting the career paths that are there? You've spoken about plumbers, doctors, teachers. Why do we seldom think success is being in front of television, is being huge numbers? Why is that?
Because that is what the world sold to us. That is what, if you think about it, and I'm not going to blame them, the Americans sold to us, the Europeans sold to us, that when you're on television, you are famous, you'll get money, you'll get freebies, and that is the wrong end of the stick that we have to have. And it's taken them probably a good 50 years to overcome that, or to understand it. And we need more people to make the generation understand that is not where you want to be. That is probably the end, or maybe the start for somebody else. But you can use your hands, and there are people that can use their head. You understand what I'm saying? And there are people who can use their feet. So we need to make sure that we understand all those little dynamics on how we get to the top. I mean, if you think about the current president of rugby, do you know where he's from?
No.
He's from Bosmont.
Yeah?
Yes.
And look how he's running a very successful organization in rugby, and look, world champions 4 times. He's done it.
Exactly. He's from Bosmont, which is it's an area next to Westbury.
Yes.
So, I can name a few of those type of people, but we need to make sure that those type of people, or they give us their ears and their minds, so that we can filter it back to where we come from, and make it like it used to be. I mean, when I think about when I was playing football, and probably a lot of the guys in Soweto on a Sunday morning at Alka Stadium. There was probably close to, for the Sunday, there will probably be close to 6,000 or 7,000 people around the stadium watching the games the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 15, Bosmont Football Association, around the stadium on a Sunday and Saturday, there'll be 5,000, 7,000 people watching the games the whole day. Today, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because we're worried about our safety. Because there's gang violence, and there's people that have this thing that they call a gun that doesn't only injure you, it actually kills you. So people are worried about their children. And I'm saying is we have to get past that stage whereby we actually teach our children properly and look at them in another light and give them the opportunity to decide where they have to go and where they have to want to be. And our schools have to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that I always say is that our teachers are probably the most important people in our lives, but we don't treat them as probably the most important people in our children's lives, because they give our children the information to stand tall and to make decisions for themselves. But I don't think it works like that anymore.
And which is quite sad. It really is sad. It's 17 minutes after 1 o'clock. We are in conversation with former Kaizer Chiefs interim head coach, if you like, Al Ali, assistant coach as well, Platinum Star Supersport United head coach, that is Coach Kevin Johnson Amazulu as well, the man that is really knows, the ins and outs of South African football and beyond, out in North Africa with Al Ali. A coach now swiftly moving to an academy that's very much close to my heart, and much more better than me, is Transnet School of Excellence, a school where it has produced an immense number of superstars, if you like. You've spoken about Stephen Pinar. There's Keegan Doley, I think, also spent his career there. Recently, it is Rele Mofokeng as well. It is endless. It is endless. Just take us through, how did you join the Transnet School of Excellence? And maybe just remind us the players that you produced at the time when you were still at the school, and how great a school was it for you?
I don't want to take credit for individuals.
Yeah.
I think it's about it's about us. But most importantly, I think we've got to give credit to Neil Tovey.
Yeah.
And a little bit to Ted Dumitru. Reason being is that Ted was running a training center in Orlando called Chibuku. And we were a group of guys that were always there, watching Ted, talking football, going through courses with Ted, and we it was like a clinic that was run with Chibuku. And then Neil Tovey came, and Neil Tovey was doing clinics for Transnet, and he was looking for coaches, and we were available, and we joined Neil Tovey. But along the way, we convinced Neil that, Neil, you know what, running clinics is not good, because you go there every 6 months, so really the children are not learning anything. But then we said, okay, Neil, let's do another thing. Let's open up a super center. And we ended up opening up a super center in Alexander, and that's where some of the players were. I'll mention some of them that came out there as well. And then we, because of our inquisitive minds and Ted Dumitru being at the back, and Neil, we said, Tovi, you work for Transnet, go and talk to them, let's open up a school. And lucky for us, there was a good lady at the head of Transnet, and I think Neil was able to convince her, and we opened up the School of Excellence at Esland Park. But from there, we got together, and because of the 9 different provinces, we said, guys, we have to start somewhere where we've been working. We've had boys from Soweto, we had boys from Alexander, and then we said, okay, let's go and look for some other boys. We went to Durban, we found some boys there, and out of, I think, if I'm right, if I'm wrong, I might be, But I think we had 40 boys. Out of 40 boys, I think 37 played professional football.
From the 40?
From the 40. The ratio
Wow.
at that time was very, very, very big. And when I talk about that group of players, I talk about Stephen Pienaar, I talk about Dylan Shepherd, I talk about Brett Evans, I talk about Monty Montgomery. Oh, who else? There was Silence Malefane, there was Beggy and Kambule. They all played for Super Sport, I think 5. Sinki Majola. Who else was there? There was quite a few.
And good players.
Very good players. They all made a mark. The one that was the sad part for me was there was a boy called, Sipho Noonans was also involved.
Yes. I think he later went to Chiefs.
He went to Sundowns.
Sundowns, yes. Was he also at the Vets at some point?
No, he was only
just
at
Sundowns.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was a boy called Mfuneko Dangule.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But what a player. He was supposed to sign for Super Sport as well. Who else was there? There was quite a few players.
Yeah.
There was one who played for Golden Arrows, 2 who played for Golden Arrows, Tsepo Mashishi, Gerald Sibeko.
Yes.
They were all from that group.
I think Tsepo is currently with Puma. He's heading Puma football. Yeah.
And Gerald Sibeko works for Kaizer Chiefs.
Yes.
Who else was there? Some of them played for Sundowns. Others played for Chiefs. Pirates. I'm thinking when Lucky Masela was also part of that group.
What a talent.
So there was quite a few that made the grade out of that. And because of the time we spent there, we spent a lot of time and we honed South African players the way South African players should play.
But tell me, Coach, when you at that young age, the players themselves, in your view, how do you spot a player at a young age? What is it that you look at? What is it that you look for at that young age? I mean, you've spoken about players that the team produced, but what are the key aspects that this boy has got an ability to be a top player?
Look, we couldn't have got it right in all the things that we did, but we read a lot of books from Europe, from South America, because we were very into that. We were very into the South American thing as well, and using our own minds as well. The biggest thing we came up about was the God-given talent in the street, that our players were still playing. I don't know if our children still play so much street football as they did then, because then there was a lot of street football and no one could teach. There's no referees. There's only the owner, and the owner is the man of the ball, and he brings together in the street, and they pick the 2 teams, and the owner's team always wins. The one with the ball. Otherwise, tomorrow there's no game. So we used to get involved with the then associations from the different provinces and ask them to bring along a certain age group of players so that we could pick. And what we picked, because we were 5 and we'd sit around the whole field and we'd pick, make sure that each player had a decent amount of time on the field of play, and look at, number 1, what he does with the ball by himself. Whether he dribbles 10, 20 people, we didn't care. But what he does with the ball. And most importantly, we always looked at his head. What his head was doing. What his head was doing in relation to his feet.
The coordination.
Yes. We always tried to look at that. We did not look at the physicality because of the nutrition within South Africa. We didn't think that was not a demand, but a prerequisite that the player has to be big, small, short, round. No, we didn't look at that. Because we knew South Africa at that time had a nutritional problem, and we would offer them a different nutrition at the school. So what we did look was God-given talent and what his head was doing. And maybe in some instances because of the intelligence of the then television and because of the intelligence of the then street football, we were able to adjust and see, okay, this could be a left back or a right back or a centre back. But never, ever, ever, ever look at positions as well. We looked to see if he used both feet. If he did, yes. If he didn't, we will mark that and improve the one that was not as good. But those are things that we looked at. And as we went on, we found out that, the best European advice that was given or that we saw was the things called tips, which was technique, insight, personality and speed. We did that without even getting that information from the Europeans.
Wow.
You understand? So
Yes.
we there's a lot of things that we looked, we saw, and by the time we started understanding them, but this guys, we're doing this long ago. We know about this years. I mean, there's still practices that I know that we do better than the Europeans.
And Coach, you spent a couple of years there at the Transnet, the School of Excellence, where you guys, produced an awful lot of players. But then now take me through the next level of your life. Well, on paper, it says your first professional job as a head coach was out at Platinum Stars. Maybe just take me through how did they spot you? Were you happy, with a couple of things? The salary at that time, were you happy? And how did that move come about? From on paper, it says Platinum Stars as your first professional job. But how did that move come about?
No, the first professional job was moving from the school to Ajax Cape Town.
Yeah.
I spent 7 years there, and my first one, at Ajax, I was given the opportunity to grow very, very often, very much. I mean, I flew to Amsterdam back and forth at least maybe 10 times.
A year? Or in total?
10 times in total. But learned a lot, rubbed shoulders with Johan Cruyff, with Rinus Michels, with Louis van Gaal, which was really, really eye-opening, you know what I'm saying? And that's where, because I think they're one of the best youth development teams in the world, Ajax Amsterdam.
What makes them, Coach? When you've been there a couple of times, you mentioned maybe 10, 11 times, what makes the Ajax Academy one of the greats? What did you see when you went there?
They have a very, very structured system. They change it every now and then when the technical director changes, but it's always the same. It's about total football. That is what South Africans have. It's about total football and ingraining the way they play into their players. And as their players grow from very young to older, they start playing a specific way. And when you look at the Barcelona way and you look at the Ajax way, very, very similar, except they have two different genes. The Barcelona way has got that little bit of Spanish flair, which comes along with the South American blood within them. We have the same thing. I think in one moment, when you look at your greats of Asen Sulengu,
Johnason,
of Johnason, of Kaizer Mtaung himself,
yes,
and you able to blend that, and you're able to give them the proper direction without apartheid, they would be world stars.
You spend your time at Ajax as well.
From Ajax, again, Tovi takes me to Sundowns.
Okay.
And when I get to Sundowns, I'm supposed to be the head of the youth because of all the work I done at Ajax.
Yes.
And Tovi loses the job. Remember, he won the league with Gamondi.
Yeah. So he was the one who brought you in.
He was the one who brought me in, and I'm there.
Yeah.
And I'm working. I'm starting to build the academy with Dr. Patrice, and we have ideas, and we're going in. And then they employ Gordon.
Gordon Egerson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gordon is working there for 2 months, and I've been there before, and he says to me, don't you want to come and join me at the first team?
Okay.
And that's where I win the league with Sundowns.
Yeah.
That's the first one. That's where I win the league with Sundowns.
Yes.
With Gordon. And we work in there, and I met a guy called Miguel Gamondi.
Yes. I think it was with Younger a couple of
yes,
years.
couple of few seasons ago. And from there, I don't know what happens at Sundowns. Sundowns, I go back to the youth, but Gamondi comes and he offers me a job, and he says, "Come with me. I'm going to coach Platinum Stars," and that's where Platinum Stars starts.
No, but coach, I think you're dribbling us a bit in that here, coach. At Sundowns, for you to leave, what was the communication? Was it a case of Miguel Camonde, who is at Platinum Stars, calls you through? Were you not happy at Sundowns? What exactly happened for you to leave the club?
No, what happened was I tasted. I was with a big club. You know what I'm saying? It was we did well and things like that. And Sundowns, they said go back, and but Gamondi came and he said, "Kevin, think about it. Come and be the assistant with me here." And I thought about it and I said, let's carry on with the first team, with the first team mentality.
Yes.
Instead of, okay, I had all the youth experience, and we conquered a lot during the youth course, and I said, well, let's go. And be as it may be, at Platinum Stars, we actually were the first team to beat Al Ahly in 50 years, if you remember.
Yes.
We beat them 2-1 at Loftus Versfeld.
Yeah.
And then they had the bosses playing for them. I say it's the bosses because by then Abu Treka, Goma,
Mohammed the Great.
Yeah. They had about...
Hassan is as well, the right back.
Yeah, they had about, I think, 12 or 13 Egyptian internationals in that team. And here we are, Platinum Stars, Solimate, Gauna, who was our goalkeeper, Kapingi, yes. We had, Jackson was still playing also.
Yes.
Who was
Jackson, the centre back?
Willem Jackson.
Yes.
Who else was playing for us?
Haraipa Marumo, was he there? The striker?
Marumo?
Simba Marumo.
Simba wasn't there then.
Okay.
Who was the striker? Matombo. What was his name?
Bibi.
We had quite a few players. I'm trying to think. Ivan Zwane. Solimata, I remember.
Yeah.
Eddie Williams, I remember.
Willem Jackson.
I want to see the striker. But anyway, we win 2-1. And we become the first South African team, I think, in 15 years or 50 years to beat Al Ahly on home grounds. Yeah, when we go to Cairo, they beat us.
What was the score there, Cairo?
In Cairo, they beat us 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, so we out.
But then that experience, coach, you speak about, Pirates also did it recently, but you speak about probably being the first. What's that experience, and what does that do to the mentality of the players that, we beat one of the greatest sides in African football with that type of players? Mohamed Abu Trika, goodness me, what a player he was.
Look, I think at the time, Platinum Stars was just building. They were getting somewhere.
Yes.
They were going slowly, but also a lot of the players that we had in the team then was also almost done, I think. They weren't young players.
Towards the end of the careers.
Towards the end, yeah. So they pushed themselves very, very hard, and they're able to get the result. But it showed that Platinum Stars, then it was known as,
Silver Stars.
Yes. But Silver Stars, then Platinum Stars.
Yes.
Then they were building something. But we left, myself and Gamondi. Then went to, I think, the Royal Bafokeng.
Yes, family, yes.
They bought the club and they took it to Rustenburg. We joined them there. But Gamondi didn't last long. Gamondi, I think we carried on for about another 2 seasons.
Yes. Were you also manager of the month twice as well?
Yes.
With Platinum Stars, yeah.
And then he left, and then I took over I started the academy. I said, well, guys, if Gamondi leaves, let me start the academy. And we started the academy at the Royal Marang. And out of that academy, 20 boys, we got 2 boys. Myself and Sam Mbata, who now also works for Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah.
We got 2 very good boys. I think they for the time we spent with them, they did very well. There was others as well, but the two are standouts. Gift Links, he plays in Denmark,
Yes, left-footed winger.
and Kabomelo Khorisang
It's now at Sundowns.
at Sundowns.
Yes.
They all come out of that particular time
Mm.
when we were at the academy. There would have been more, but I subsequently got promoted to the first team.
Mm.
I went back to the first team, and Sam left, went to Sundowns, and that's when we ended up coming second.
Yeah.
Lost to Chiefs by 1 point. The league.
Yeah.
But those were good days.
Absolutely.
And then the dribble came again,
Mm.
where it's not always, you gotta look at yourself as a coach and what you do. And Supersport came along, offered me a job, and I went back to Supersport.
Mm.
I went to Supersport. It wasn't the best time.
Mm.
I don't think we had good players, but like a lot of the guys say, the roll of the dice was not in my favor, and it didn't work out. But I got the job. I didn't last at Supersport and went back to Platinum Stars,
Mm.
and that's where we built a nice team, a good team, and we even went into Africa because we came second. We went into Africa, and we ended up losing to Sfaxian, and I think we won in Mozambique.
Yes.
We won in Mozambique, the game in Mozambique. Came back, we won in Swaziland or Lesotho, one of the two.
Mm.
And then we lost in Tunisia. And then Confederations were out fast there.
Yeah.
Platinum Stars, what happened?
Was it?
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Platinum Stars was okay. We had a lot of success.
Mm.
The players, I think we had a very, very good team. But we were not buying many youngsters. We were using a lot of the guys from the academy. I think I promoted a few, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And they were coming through. But somewhere along the line, we lost. Because I got thrown away. I left the club. Yeah, I resigned, or we never continued with the contract. The contract came to an end, and we stopped.
But coach, we are now going to swiftly move to Al Ali as well as KZ Chiefs. But just before that, you were at Platinum Stars. There's a certain player that you specifically asked for, probably looked for, brought him at the club. I think for me, he's still one of the most gifted South Africa's ever seen. Unfortunately, wayward off the pitch. Zizu Masubusani Zongo. Coach, can you maybe just excite us a bit, Coach? What is it that you saw in him? What was he doing at training? We saw what he did on the pitch. But Zongo, Coach, he was something special. And you literally fetched him from the dire situation that he was in, because no club wanted to touch him at that point. But you brought him in. There's a point where you played against KZ Chiefs, he killed them, literally killed them. But what did you see in Masubuzani Zongo that you said, you know what, I still want this boy?
Zongo has got a history. Zongo has got a good development history. Zongo was in the same group of players that Ronan Williams was with.
Yeah, Kermit Erasmus, Mokocho, Kwelani Pila.
Yes. That is the same generation that Zongo comes from. So when you look at that generation, they were all more or less the same generation, like your Dylan Shepherds, your Brett Evans, your Stephen Pienaar. They were all brought up in a certain way. If you know what I'm saying. They all have. There's one thing they all have is football. They all have football in their heads. And if I tell you the time Zongo spent with me, he would not be injured one day. Never ever injured. Never ever on the medical table. Did not miss training. Yeah, maybe came to training drunk, but never missed the training.
Absolutely.
And that for me was something that I had to fight with him for, because of the off the field mentality and the head mentality. Because Zongo was just purely gifted. Zongo could play football in his sleep. Zongo could do things that nobody could do. I mean, he made tricks and things like that, but when it came to passing the ball,
Yes.
he was one of the best passers of the ball, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With whoever he was playing with.
And switching flanks, near passes.
All the time. And if the company that he was playing with enjoyed the type of football he was playing, then he would make your team tick. And that is what Zongo brought to my team at Platinum Stars. He brought a difference. So when we'd be playing straight, Zongo would make it crooked. And then you'd say, yeah. And if he made it crooked, the other guys that would help or would come and help knew that don't go now because you're going to go too early. He's not going to do it. He'll do it later. You understand?
Yeah.
So you had to understand that type of football player. But I sometimes think that in my own mind, I did a lot for him, but I didn't do enough.
What do you think? What do you think is it that maybe you could possibly have done, Coach? Because, as I said, for me, in our eyes, you did quite a lot by bringing him when he was in the dab. But what is it that, from your perspective, is that you should have done more?
I should have tied him up to my car. I should have tied him up to my car so I could see him all the time.
Yeah.
I should have done that. But I think he lost that when he was still a junior. I think that's where he lost it. And I mean, there were times when he would come into my office and say, Coach, I'm sick. And I'd say, yeah, okay, let's do something. We'd go, fix. He'll disappear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I still think that he is a nice person. He's a nice human being. He's an intelligent human being. But yes, you get those people where he's got too many tricks. And that's why I say I should have tied him up to my car.
Yeah, we are still in conversation with Coach Kevin Johnason, and he speaks about one of the most gifted players, developed by SuperSport United and the type of players that he came through with. I think Kwanelo Kopo is also responsible for his upbringing or coaching out at SuperSport United. What an absolute gem of a footballer Zongo was. But Coach, there's around about 16 minutes left, and I want us now to move to Egypt. And I think at the time you're unemployed. Take us through in confidence in regards to the conversation that you had. Was it Coach Pito who called you first? How did that move come about? You didn't spend too much time at Al Ali. How was your time there? The mentality with the North Africans is different, but just take us through the conversation, how it started for you to come and coach, or rather join Coach Pito Msimane in Egypt.
Look, we just come back from Amazulu and at home, and I think it was a few months, and I get a call from Pizzo's agent.
Yes, Moira, yes.
And she says, Coach, would you like to come to Ali? I said, Moira, you don't need to phone me. And I say, are you sure? Is Pizzo in line with this? She says, yes. I said, you don't have to ask me. One phone call is fine. I'm on the bus.
Yeah.
And she says, why? I said, because I know where I'm going. I'm going to the club of the century, and I know it will be an honor to work with Pizzo Msimane. And I think it happens in the space of 3 days, 2 days.
Yeah.
We was COVID, do a COVID test, do this, do that, and in 3 days' time I'm in Egypt. So it didn't take me long. Krabo, it didn't take me long because I knew going there, I would be stealing with my eyes. I would be stealing with my mentality as to what, and at the same time I would be stealing from Pizzo what he does. And when I get there, we are in the CAF final. We win 2 CAF championships. We win the Egyptian Cup.
Yeah.
He wins the Egyptian League. He wins the... What else did we win? I think we won 4 trophies or 5 trophies that year.
And were you also part of the team that went to the Club World Cup as well, yeah?
And then we go to the Club World Cup, and you play against... You have Bayern Munich there, you have Palmeiras there, you have all the... There's 5 or 6...
Top clubs
in the world. And you go to the next country that's going to host the World Cup, and you're able to see what it's like to play on an air-conditioned stadium, and you see what it's like to see, because they treat you like the World Cup.
Yes.
So they give you whatever they're going to give the World Cup teams, they give those World Club teams. They test. So wherever you go in, it's all to do with FIFA. It's all to see how FIFA is going to handle the World Cup teams, how they bust them, how they bring them back, how they bring them forth. But those are all experiences. But the biggest experience I had was being able to work with Pitso, being able to work with the Ali players, and shows you what it is like to play for Ali. And
Coach, please expand on that. I think the 2 points. Firstly, how was it working with Coach Pitso Msimane? I think he's one of the greats with what he's done at Sundowns, at Al Ali now. He's currently with Ertigal, if I'm not mistaken. First and foremost, how was it working under or with Coach Pitso Msimane? And secondly, what does it mean to be part and parcel of the technical team at Ali? What makes Al Ali so different?
Look, number one is you have to give credit to Pitso. I think Pitso is well equipped with the African game. He's very much into the game. He watches a lot of games, and when he's on the pitch coaching his players, it's something that is not done on paper. I'm going to let them run here and there and there. It's his mentality, it's his character that he brings out the best in the Ali team at the time. And also the way he handles his staff. He's not very boisterous on us. He can be sometimes, but not all the time. And we always follow him. So he likes that. He likes to let's follow him so that we get the results. And you have to give him credit, because in the end, when you sit with him around the table, he never says this is about Pitso Msimane. He always says it's about us guys. We do the job together. Yes, when they tell me to go, they're going to tell me to go. But sometimes they might tell you to go. So it's the way it goes. You know, that is football. But working with the Ali, everything at the Ali, is that they always, there's one guy that I have the biggest respect for in Ali, that is Sami Komsami. He was the second assistant. And he taught me so much about the Egyptian people. He taught me so much about the 109 years that they are alive. And he taught me so much that Ali is not only a football team. Ali is a tennis team. Ali is a basketball team. Ali is a hockey team. Ali is a swimming team. And they have all those things. But the main one is the football. But the rest is just as big. You understand what I'm saying? And when you look at it, when I look at them, and the first thing that surprised me was we had a 20-year-old goalkeeper. He's now the first team goalkeeper.
Yes.
Shubair.
Yes.
He was 20 at the time, on 19 turning 20. When I spoke to him, he was able to mention the Abu Treka team to me.
The whole team?
The whole team. That's how much they are into that team. They were able to mention, if you remember, the president of their team is Captain Bibo.
Yes, yes.
He played in 1970 something as the captain of Ali.
And well respected as well.
Well respected. That boy was able to mention that team.
From the 70s?
From the 70s. So when you play for Ali, you don't play for Ali because you're just a normal football player. You have to play for Ali and know where you come from, especially when you are an Egyptian. And along the way, the foreigners that go in, I'm sure if you speak to Percy Town now,
yes,
he'll be able to tell you, hey, the generation of Wild Goma, the generation of Abu Trekker, the generation of Bibo, what they won, how many. That's why they have so many leagues and so many trophies, because the next generation always wants to be better than the following generation. I mean, if you look at the generation now, there's some players that I know of in that team now that have 4 CAF championship medals. I got 2 from Pizzo. Marcel Koller now, the next coach, has got 2. But there's a players that have got 4 now. There's some that have got 5. You're the captain.
El Shanawi, the goalkeeper.
He's got 5. There's that Afsha, he's got 4.
Yeah.
Shahat's got 4. Percy Tao has got 3 now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So those are things that these players thrive on. And going to the World Cup for them is probably the biggest thing, because now the Club World Cup is not 6 teams. It's now going to be 16 teams.
Yeah.
The next Club World Cup.
Yes.
So that is even more important for them. And they want to compete in all those things.
And coach, you speak about the trophies that you won with Pitso Msimane at Al Ahly. So why the decision for you to leave, coach? Why did you leave Al Ahly? What happened?
There was not a disagreement. It was I felt I needed to get home, and we came home. It was okay. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to come home, and we agreed, and he said, okay, you can go. So it was thinking, I'm here, it's not long, and I don't think Pitso stayed for longer.
Yes. I think he was there for 2.5 seasons, if I'm mistaken. Yeah,
I was there for 2 seasons, and then I left.
Yeah.
So we wanted to come home, because it was also a little bit of a schlep every now and then. You have to come, and COVID was there. We didn't know where COVID was taking us to, and we came home.
There's 2 more that's left, coach. 7 minutes left, and I think the elephant in the room, the one that has a lot of supporters upset. And I think this is not only about you, but the players as well. I think it's Kaizer Chiefs, and we'll close it with your book because it's quite interesting. When I spoke about it with Tevin, there's a lot that is going to be said in that book. But coach, Kaizer Chiefs as well. You were there, head of youth as well, initially, and then you were promoted to the first team. When you are promoted to the first team, what goes through your mind first and foremost? What was it like being the interim head coach? Your feeling of being or leading Kaizer Chiefs Football Club?
Look, the number one thing is I wasn't promoted. I was asked.
Yes.
If I could take the job, because I didn't join Kaizer Chiefs to become the head coach. One thing in life is I never ever joined them to become the head coach. And I was there for a month when the doctor himself called me, Dr. Kaizer, and he said, Kevin, would you like to take the team? I said, no, Dr. Kaizer, I'm not here to coach your team. I'm here to make diamonds for you. And we had a discussion, and sometimes when the chairman calls you, you answer, and you have to admit. And I thought at the time, and maybe looking back now in hindsight, it was wrong. But in hindsight, I done this before, whereby I took a team out of the hole and I made it better. If you talk about Platinum Stars, if you talk about Amazulu,
Zulu, yes,
especially Amazulu, because at Amazulu, we were flying, and then all of a sudden they deducted us 6 points, and we were nowhere. The players, there's not a team there's maybe not many teams in the world when they deduct points that survive relegation. We survived relegation. We ended up, I think, 8th, Amazulu. So I thought to myself, you know what? The boss is talking. I have to reply. And I said, Mr. Chairman, I've done this before. Maybe I think I can do it again. And having the confidence in myself, I thought I could do it again.
Yeah. And coach, to be fair, when you took over, I I think out of the first 6 games, you had won 4, drawn 2 because you never lost. That is going to the break of January. What was going right at the point when you started in those 6 games? It was literally 6, won 4, drawn 2. What was going right before? We are still going to go to the other side of January. What went right?
A new broom always sleeps clean.
Literally that.
Literally that, and the players were enjoying themselves and they were having fun. But then maybe along the way, you know, there were times when if we only won the game, which we lost in the 90th, 89th minute, we lost the games in the 75th minute. We lost very, very, very bad games. And there was games where we just didn't score goals. We couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. There were times after the January market whereby if we won the game, we would be 2. If we won the next game, we would be 3 because someone else won.
Yes.
But we were always on top, and those results afterwards that came was really, really not results that any coach would want to accept, because it wasn't that. When you look at our stats and our amount of shots at goal, and it was not like someone outplayed us. I think out of all that time, there was nobody that really outplayed us.
So, Coach, I think asking what happened is a blunt question. You were there, you were in the inside, you see the training sessions, you see the players, you travel with the team, match day. What changed, Coach? Was it just literally that, you know, the fine margins in regards to conceding late goals, not being able to convert opportunity? Was it just that?
For me, it was just that. It was really, really bad. Maybe football doesn't have luck. You've got to make your own luck in football. And maybe when I look at it, I'm saying maybe the players were just not good enough or just not tough enough to get that margin or to read the league like I was reading the league. You know, if we won this game, we know we'd be second.
Yeah.
If we won this game, there'd be no ways we would be out of the top 8. If we won the next 2 games, there's no ways anybody could catch us, and we would still be in the top 8. So it was those things, and when I look at it, sometimes I think maybe they could have been trying too hard, or it was just that time looking for, is it self-recognition because of Kaizer Chiefs? Because it's the other thing I put into perspective, and again, it's always good to talk after, is that during training, there's nobody. There's nobody screaming your name. There's nobody booing you when you make a mistake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Football is about mistakes. And there's nobody saying that. It's only one voice. You make a mistake, Karabo, the coach is at you. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's only the coach.
But on match day...
But when you make a mistake live, and Kaizer Chiefs, guaranteed there's always 10 to 15,000 people watching them live. On match day, now all of a sudden it's 15,000 people booing you. You make one mistake, you're going to make the next one. You're going to make the third one. And that I always put down as to mentality. And then afterwards I was saying, wow, okay, good training players, but come match day, maybe it shakes him a little bit. So we got to get that fight also out of them. And you have to also realize that any team that plays against Kaizer Chiefs, they put 150%. Kaizer Chiefs plays, you got to put 200%. And that's a normal thing playing for Kaizer Chiefs. If you go, I advise anybody who going to play for Kaizer Chiefs now, be prepared to put 250%. If you put anything less, you cannot play for the team.
Coach, in recent months, there's a new coach, Coach Nabi's technical team as well. I attend their games, and he's spoken or maybe the supporters about, the lack of quality therein. Would you agree with the supporters? Would you agree with Coach Nabi to some extent, saying that he needs more quality? But during your time, do you think was there quality there that could help Chiefs to qualify for? I mean, the demands at the club are quite high. The top three win the league. Do you think the quality during your era was there to help the club to push themselves to higher levels?
For the current team and the current coach, I have no comment.
Okay.
I think I have to be.
Absolutely.
You have to be there. When I was at the
club at the time.
At the club at the time, I always said, I will not get players. I will use the ones I have.
Mm-hmm.
And when the season is done, if I am still the boss, then we will decide. So what am I saying while I was there? While I was there, I was prepared to work with the players that they had. Because like I said, when the doctor called me, I said, I'll do it with the players you have. And I think the results we had, the stats we had on the players at the time were all good. And yes, we did fail in certain moments in those games, in some of the games, whereby we conceded late, conceded too early and not able to come back. We train well and we don't execute better. So all those things, that is in my era. But like I say, with the new coach and the new technical team, I don't have any comment. They have to figure that out.
Absolutely. Coach, you went through a lot of abuse online. The supporters were not happy, and I think to some extent we've got to understand because, the Rex era of this club is winning trophies and so forth. But you were there to help, as you said, Dr. Kaiser Mtau, the respectable Dr. Kaiser, called you in to help. I saw the stress in post-match press conferences that you went through the results. Before you are a professional, before you are a coach, you are a human being, Coach. My question is, how did you handle that stress, the abuse that you were receiving from the club's fans that you also have to understand because they want results? But how did you manage that stress and the abuse that you were receiving from the club's fans who dearly, dearly love the club?
Look, I always say to myself that there's no stress in football. If you become a fan that goes through stress, then I don't think you can handle a football game. In a football game, there has to be losers and there has to be winners. We can't win all the time. And football is built around 11 people, 11 players that go on the pitch, that work with 35 other players. And when you build a team, or when you look at where Kaizer Chiefs come from, and you look at what the guys before my turn, or in 2010, 2011, when they won trophies, what they were doing, how they were doing it, and the quality of players then, and the quality of the players when I was there, then you can see the different balances. And like I said early on, with Ali, what is the quality of the player that you're bringing into Kaizer Chiefs? Does he want to be a Kaizer Chiefs player? Is he capable of being a Kaizer Chiefs player? Because the Kaizer Chiefs fan has been a Kaizer Chiefs fan for 15 years, for 20 years, for 30 years. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, you're bringing in a Kaizer Chiefs player that only knows Kaizer Chiefs for the last 2 years.
What a point.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So when you want to be a Kaizer Chiefs player, you must know where you're going into and what you're going to do. And that's why I gave you the example of the goalkeeper of Al Ali, who knew the generation start to finish in the 1976.
The era of 70s.
The era of the 70s, who won the trophies and who were the main players. You understand?
Yeah.
Not that he was alive then.
But he
picked it up.
Yeah.
By the time he knew you might become an Ali player. He knows that.
And coach, how do we change that? And not only for Kaizer Chiefs, I think I have to open this for Orlando Pirates as well, because these are two different and special clubs. Is it the players themselves who have to take it upon themselves to read about the club, to study the club? Do they have to be taken through what is it? What does it mean to play for the club?
That is exactly what I am going to tell you in my From Westbury
To the world.
Because those are part and parcel of us trying to tell our people, because we've been brought up to say, hey, you know what, Karabo, it's my time now. I'm a football player, it's my time. Don't you remember Teenage Dladla? Don't you remember Asen Tsulengu? Don't you remember Dr. Kumalo? It's my time now. No, you must.
You must know them.
You must know them, and you must respect them. And you must go back and watch, because we have this new social thing. You can see videos of them. You can see what they've done to the crowd. You can see, and football hasn't changed. Football is still played between 4 lines. It's not 15 against 11 now. It's still 11 against 11.
Absolutely.
And it's still played only between 4 lines. So, still played with a round thing, still played with boots. It's very little has changed.
Oh. Coach, it's 7 minutes after 2 o'clock, but your book, I think that's where we are going to close it. Your book, From Westbury to the World, it's a very, very powerful, title of the book. Just take us through the mentality of the book. What is it that you're trying to achieve with the book, and where can people start, buying it or reading about the book?
The mentality of the book is exactly like it says, from Westbury to the world, to show the next generation that it's not only Kevin Johnson that can do this, but giving advice, giving young athletes, whether they coaches, whether they athletes, information on how to get there and what to do when they get there. What I did, what is wrong, what is right, and being as open and as open as I can in all aspects to give guidance. And if someone can steal with their eyes, then so be it, and I wish them luck, and I wish that they can then pass it on to the next generation.
Coach Kevin Johnson, personally, what's next?
Another interview.
Professionally, coach?
Professionally, we're waiting in the sidelines. We have people out there looking for anything that comes along, but basically looking for a very good, maybe if we have a good team as a head coach, but also looking to start something whereby we can ingrain generation of mentality, thinking, and trying to develop the next world-class player that can go on and be a Lucas Radebe, a Stephen Pienaar, a Benny McCarthy that conquers the world, because I do believe South Africa has some of the best talent in the world.
Well, that is that. 9 minutes after 2 o'clock. What a conversation we had with Coach Kevin Johnson, from him living out in Westbury to, the shores of Cairo, with Al Ahly, winning a couple of trophies with the club as well, being at the Club World Cup, coming back to Kaizer Chiefs, assisting the club, being asked, to help to help the club that is Kaizer Chiefs. So what an absolute honor it has been, to speak to Coach Kevin Johnson, getting into his mentality and his book as well. I mean, it's been quite insightful. Coach Kevin Johnson, from myself, the listeners as well, the team behind me as well, it's been an absolute peach of a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best for your career. And as I always say, I think now you are the friend of the show, and when we do call, please do come through, and whatever that you need in regards to speaking about going to different places and conversations with coaches, we're also here to come through and maybe just video that for you. We're here for you. I think you are now our friend, Coach Kevin Johnson. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you to all the people in the back room as well for watching me. And thank you to all your listeners for listening, and hopefully we're able to give them a message. We're able to make it a little bit more clearer as to where we were and where we're going, and everything of the best.
Well, absolutely, and that's how we are closing it. Coach Kevin Johnson, what an absolute pleasure it was, to speak to him for the past hour and 10 minutes. And yeah, it was live as well. And don't forget, we've got 40 stores in South Africa, a couple out in, I think we've got one in Namibia, if I'm not mistaken, Zambia as well. So continue buying your Bogut merchandise. We are who we are because of you, and we truly do appreciate it. Well, that's that from myself, SK Phasha, Coach Kevin Johnson, the team behind me as well. Always a team effort. We're back again next week, but tomorrow morning, the morning show starts 9 to 11. And of course, there are other shows that you guys can tune into and watch. That's how we do it. We're back again next week.